Hey everybody, Coach Toolshed here, and in today's video I'm going to try to take a look at the recent conversation that sprung up around Cyberpunk 2077, and I don't want to get all into the drama that's been going on where different channels are going back and forth saying this and saying that. This is going to be fact-based. I'm going to discuss some actual facts, and I just want to point out a couple of things that people seem to be ignoring in this overall conversation. I know that people are going to get upset with what I have to say. They're going to angrily be typing down in the comments, and I understand that, and that's fine. But to those people, just let me say, just hear me out and understand that this video is not going to be wild, rampant speculation about the monetization for any potential multiplayer offering for Cyberpunk 2077. That is not the purpose of today's video in any way, shape, or form. So, before you start angrily typing, just keep that in mind. Now, what I want to discuss today is the absolute ridiculous conversation that has sprung up around this game since we got leaks coming out of an investor's call where CD Projekt said they were looking into wise monetization for the multiplayer component of Cyberpunk 2077. If you're not aware of what happened, there's been a lot of back and forth over the last week. People saying that there's going to be monetization or there might be monetization, and other people saying no, they never said that, and CD Projekt had to weigh in. It's been a whole kerfuffle because, of course, everyone knows that CD Projekt is the chosen one when it comes to game developers, right? I mean, they've never done anything wrong whatsoever. They can never possibly do anything wrong. Don't you guys understand? And this is what I want to discuss today, because the conversation that started instantly, people rushing to the defense, saying that CD Projekt would never implement any shady microtransactions or anything that would affect consumers negatively in any way, because of course they are always pro-consumer. They said so themselves, and there's no evidence to support the contrary, right? And then the other side, you have people pointing out that you can't trust any game developers. And what about all the examples we've seen over the last year? And those people are quickly getting shouted down because, of course, everyone knows CD Projekt they're so virtuous. They've never done anything wrong when it comes to monetization, right? Well, I got to point out some things today that people just don't seem to want to hear. I've seen a lot of videos about this topic in the last week going back and forth, and something that people seem to keep ignoring. And I don't know if this is just ignorance or if they're willfully just leaving this out of the conversation. But CD Projekt is trying to act like Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be their first ever multiplayer game. Now, we don't know what form the multiplayer is going to take shape. They haven't told us. They don't even seem to know themselves. They're still in the very early development stages. They don't know what it's going to be. So any rampant speculation that you're going to hear from people in the comment sections is just that. It's speculation. Nobody has a clue what it's actually going to entail. However, CD Projekt is trying to make it sound like Cyberpunk 2077 is the first multiplayer game they've ever had, and that is not true. I'm also kind of confused as to why they would say that in an investor call, because they've had a multiplayer game on the market now for over a year. It's a spin-off from The Witcher 3. It's Gwent. It's a card game. It's a deck builder. It's a free-to-play game that they put out late in 2018. This is a multiplayer game. The opponents you play are online. You are playing against other people. So why they would say that Cyberpunk 2077, when that multiplayer aspect comes out, that's going to be their first multiplayer, that is simply factually not true at all. People seem to be ignoring Gwent in large numbers. I don't know why. And even the people that will acknowledge Gwent's existence, they're forgetting one key thing, something that I don't see anyone bringing up, something that gets criticized when any other publisher or developer does it in any game. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about everyone's least favorite monetization strategy, loot boxes. What? What? CD Projekt uses loot? No, they would never do that. They would never do that. Well, they do. They're called kegs, and you open them and you get randomized cards. It's how you progress in the game. Now, you can earn them in-game from doing different things. You get more achievements throughout the game by winning matches, by doing different things with your deck, by unlocking new leaders, playing with new decks, winning with new decks, whatever the case may be. But as with any game where the economy is based around loot boxes, you get diminishing returns. Basically, the rewards are front-loaded. The first couple days you're playing the game, you'll get showered with all sorts of rewards. You'll think, oh, this is going to be no problem. I'm constantly getting these upgrades. I can constantly open up new loot boxes with just currency that I'm earning in the game, and I'm never going to have to pay money to progress. However, what happens is those rewards start drying up really quickly, and if you want to get better, if you keep winning matches, you're going to start running into players who are going to have a lot more really powerful cards than you. Now, while there is a deck limit, you can only put so many points into each deck, so you can't just have a completely loaded deck. There is definitely an advantage to having more options. You can mix and match more, and having more cards at your disposal is a definite advantage. And in this game, like I said, the entire progression of the game is based around opening up these kegs that they also sell for premium currency. As you keep going, as you keep playing, they dry up faster and faster. That is just how the monetization strategy for these type of games work. Now, I've seen a lot of people saying, well, what do you want to do? Look at all these other companies that monetize their card games the same way. And to that I say, well, actually, let's see what CD Projekt Red said. I thought the quote was, "We leave greed to others." So why is it when they monetize with loot boxes, it's okay because they're CD Projekt Red? And when any other company does it, people get really upset. Loot boxes, I thought most of us had agreed by this point, just need to be gone from gaming. There's other monetization strategies they could use. I know, here's a shocking concept, they could actually move away from these nonsense free-to-play models, which are designed to just lure in as many suckers as possible, and actually charge for the game, and that way they'll have to create a quality product that is worth playing. All these free-to-play games that come out are really just gigantic money traps. There's very, very few examples of games where they don't use randomized loot boxes and it's still a free-to-play game. Now, is any of this saying that they're going to put loot boxes into Cyberpunk 2077's multiplayer when that comes out? No, I didn't say that. Don't argue that point down in the comments, because I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, CD Projekt Red is not above using the most despised monetization method in gaming. All of us hate loot boxes. CD Projekt Red does not get a free pass just because they're CD Projekt Red. Just because you love The Witcher 3. Just because you all the expansions, Blood and Wine. Oh my goodness. The expansions. And what about the free DLC? Did you see they gave away free haircuts and alternate costumes? I mean, it's astounding stuff. I know. And everyone loves The Witcher 3. I know, I get it. But the fact is, in the current trend of the gaming sphere, companies never get better with their monetization. That never happens. They just keep getting worse. CD Projekt Red is put up on a pedestal by many people because they felt that The Witcher 3 was done perfectly. The expansions, the DLC, the quality of the game itself, the length of the game, everyone feels like they got their money worth for that game. However, let's look at a couple other examples, and let's just not forget, it was only 1 year ago where I had so many people in the comments telling me I was crazy about Bethesda. That they would never release a subpar, broken game. They would never lie about their monetization strategies. Bethesda knew better. Everyone told me that. I got so many angry people in the comments last year telling me how crazy I was that Bethesda would never break their promises. And that was just a year ago. And now Bethesda is generally regarded as a punchline by most of the gaming audience. Now, of course, you got a few diehards that will still defend them. That's not who I'm talking about. By and large, most people at the start of 2018, which is just last year, would have said that Bethesda was on the right side of monetization. Even though I did multiple videos discussing how they actually had been trending in a poor direction for years, people wanted to ignore that and tell me I was crazy. Again, earlier this year, I did a video discussing how Nintendo had said that they were looking to move more heavily into monetization for mobile games. And what happened later on this year, people started losing their mind when Nintendo started gouging people in the mobile market. People said, how can Nintendo do this? We thought that they wouldn't go down this road like all these other companies. How can Nintendo do this? But they did it. And the tune has changed on Nintendo just in the last year as well when it comes to monetization, because they have flipped the script. Now, with CD Projekt Red, again, their last game that they put out does use loot boxes. And this is a game that came out in late 2018, well after the time when the conversation had soured entirely about loot boxes. This isn't like a game that came out in 2014 before the conversation really got like really venomous and the gaming audience had completely turned their back on that monetization model. This came out just a year ago. In fact, as I'm recording this, it hadn't even released on consoles yet a year ago at this time. It came out on December 4th last year. So the game is not even a year old. Still, to this day, I turned it on today, and sure enough, still monetized with loot boxes. And I know I've seen all sorts of arguments. Well, it's a free-to-play game. Well, that was their choice. It didn't have to be. They could have charged for the game. Now, sure, you wouldn't get as many people lured in, but that's besides the point. Some games you can just charge for. And I see a lot of other people making comments like, well, you just must not want people to eat. They got to keep servers running. Well, again, we don't know what sort of multiplayer 2077 is going to have. But with Gwent, they're not running huge server infrastructure. It's just basically login requirements. Because you're just playing peer-to-peer in this game, and you can drop connection all the time. It happens constantly during a match. You'll just drop the connection. You'll be playing with someone overseas, and your connection will zoink out, and the match will end. Sometimes they'll come back, but a lot of times the match will just end. And then you'll see the people again saying, what about the servers? They gotta pay for servers. Don't you guys understand the servers? Well, I'm gonna have to refer back to the Xbox head, Phil Spencer, when he said just last month, don't worry about how we're paying the bills. Don't worry about our bottom line. You just worry about playing the games you want to play. And don't worry about how the game company is doing financially. That's not your job. It's not our job to worry about how they're going to pay for servers. By the way, here's some speculation, but I think this is educated speculation here. Cyberpunk 27 next year is going to sell at least 10 million copies. At least 10 million. The Witcher 3 has sold over 30 million copies at this point. And that was numbers that we got a couple of years back. Who knows how much it's gone now that the Switch release has come out, now that you can get the game for $20, the complete edition a lot of times. I'm sure they've sold way more copies than that at this point. But when The Witcher 3 first came out, CD Projekt Red was not nearly as well known as they were now. And the conversation and the hype surrounding that game, although it was huge, is not nearly what the hype is right now for Cyberpunk 2077, because CD Projekt Red is now a household name. Everyone's looking forward to the game. Everyone's going to hype the game. Every media outlet is going to be laser focused for at least a month before this game comes out. It's all you're going to hear about. And it's coming out early in the year. So they're going to have a massive amount of revenue to sit back on. Just in hundreds of millions of dollars. And something else that always gets ignored is that CD Projekt Red, being from Poland, gets millions of dollars from the Polish government in supplemental development income that they can use. And especially, I've read articles a couple years ago specifically earmarked for multiplayer development. So the government of Poland is also pitching in. So again, don't fret about them running servers. That's a ridiculous argument for us as players to be making, is about the financial cost of them running servers. And again, we don't know what the game could be. It could just be simple peer-to-peer servers. Maybe it's just drop-in co-op. What if it's nothing like the game at all? We don't know. There's a lot of speculation. People think it's going to be just like GTA Online. Nobody actually knows that. We don't actually know that. That's never been stated. So just enough with the speculation. But anyway, this video, I'm realizing, has gone on far too long. But the point is, I know everyone loves CD Projekt Red. But just like with any other company, you can't take them at face value at all times. They're not always going to be honest, and they're never going to get better with their monetization. They're just going to trend downward. The fact is, CD Projekt Red's last game with multiplayer did have loot boxes. So regardless of what they say now, they can say that they're not going to put microtransactions in, and maybe they won't. But the fact is, we don't know. And the industry, if it's taught us anything over the last couple of years, is that we can't trust what developers say. It does not matter who they are. Wait till the game comes out. That's it from me, Coach Toolshed. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Please subscribe if you want to stay in tune with the channel. Head forward, and as always, keep it turned to 11. I know there's going to be so many people that are mad about this. I'm just trying to state some basic facts here. Try not to get mad. I'm not saying anything bad about 2077 just yet. Talk to you later.